Hello guys, in this video we will see how to use a Visual Studio for Visual Basic. So I'll basically explain these things with the help of a form, a simple form which will capture the details of an individual. So let us start. Uh, I'll just open Visual Studio. I'll go for create new project. In this, I'll choose Visual Basic Windows and Desktop will be the category. In this, I'll choose this Windows Forms App .NET Framework. Okay, so this is a Windows desktop application. So I'll just click next. Here I'll select the location where I want to store this. I'll give a simple details form as the project name. Okay, the framework of .NET, I'm not changing anything. I'm just leaving as it is, and I'm placing a solution directory. So it is by default clicked, so I'm not changing it. Okay. Now I'm clicking create. So since once the project is loaded, it will load a default form. So basically, guys, Visual Studio works on a principle, a form, and then followed by its coding. So we need to design a form first. Then using that form with the tools whatever we have created, with the tools you need to give a code for the tools, and this is how a Windows Visual Basic works. Okay, so let me explain you some features of tools. Okay, so this form is resizable. You can resize to any extent. You can make it to full screen. You can have a small form. So now we will resize to a smaller form. We will not go with a bigger form since this is a basic one. Okay, so for each and every tool, including the form, there is a property window here. Okay, this property defines majority of the things like look and appearance, whether it should be enabled, whether it should have this color, what kind of size it should be, what text it should carry, what on which language it should be populated. There are many things. Okay, so I'll explain basic features. Okay, so for example, I'll take a label. Okay, what is a label? A label is nothing but a tool which can print the data, means it can have the field names. Basically it is basically used for field names. So when you just drag and drop the tools from here to here, it will come with the default name as that tool name itself, followed by a number 1. So if you do the same thing again for the same tool, it will drag it as number 2. So it will count the number of tools already present inside this form, and it will automatically increment. So if I drag again, it will be label 3. So like this, it will be numbering each and every tool whatever you drag and drop. So there are basic tools inside this toolbox. Okay, so we will try using those and create a simple form which is useful on a everyday's life. Okay, so you would have used all these controls which I will showcase in this video, but we would have not used it in a coding basis. Okay, in a coding level. So let's see how this works, these things work. Okay, so let's start with the properties, because properties is more important for any tool which is being placed inside this form. Okay, so basically you need to drag and drop the tools and design the property and design this form, and then you need to code it, and then you can run it and see. Okay, this is how a Visual Basic works. Okay, so first for label, I'll just tell you few properties so that those are common properties for all the tools. Okay, so we'll see that, and then we'll go into the designing part of this form. First one is name. Name is basically given, it's the reference. Okay, so for any tool which you drag and drop here, it will have a name by default. Say for example, if I drag a text box, okay, text box is basically for keying in the input values. Okay, so it will be text box 1. So like how label got a label 1, likewise text box also will have a name as text box 1. So likewise for each and every tool there is a name. So you can change this name if you want. If it is a smaller form, not an issue. You don't have to change it mandatorily. But if it is a bigger form wherein you have some 50 plus fields or something, it will be very hard to remember what field is capturing what data. So you cannot remember like text box 5 is for email, text box 10 is for address, one like this, like that you can't remember, right? For that purpose, you can rename this tech the tool itself, okay, so that it is easy for you. So I'll just showcase how to rename. It's up to you how you rename it. Okay, so I'm giving txt as text box, then name. So this is as simple as this. Okay, the label is basically for displaying the data, so you won't be able to capture any data once you type this, means once you key in with the value, it will just showcase the data, that's all. Its overall future means overall value is itself completed, so there is no other use case apart from displaying the data. So you don't have to necessarily rename the label name. If you want, you can rename. So if you want, I'll showcase one. Okay, so here I'm renaming the label as lbl underscore name, label of name. Okay, so here I have given the label as txt underscore name. So here I have given the label name as label underscore name, but see, the label one display is still label one only. Okay, even though I have changed the label name, the text is not changed in the form. So for changing the text of this label, we need to go to the text field. Okay, text property. So this is basically the display text. Okay, so double click this or just click here and just erase this and type your text what you want to give. So we'll provide it as name. Okay, see, it has come here now. Similarly for other, for any tool which you have, you will have a text property. So text property is basically the display text which you want to display, and name property is for the naming convention, means for naming, means for reference purpose. So with that name only you will have to code everything inside the form. Okay, so form also you have a name, you don't have to change this. I'll tell you in later on applications, because there are multiple places where you need to change the form name. If you change it, other than form you can change for any tool inside this which you use. Okay, that is not an issue. Okay, let's change the label name. I'll change everything so that it is okay for you to understand. Okay, so this we will keep it as name, then you will have a age group. Okay, I'll use this as a age group. So this is a age group. So okay, I've just given the name, I have not changed the text we will give it as age group. And one more thing, your name should not have any spaces. It can have underscore, you can have capital lower casing and all, but not space, because it's a kind of reference, so you can't have a space. So for this age group we will use a different tool. We can use a text box also to get a value, but I don't want the user to select the age group. I don't want the user to key in. Instead I want the user to select the age group. Okay, so for that purpose I'll use a combo box. The combo box you would have seen in a lot of forms, online forms and all. So the basic purpose of a combo box is to avoid the user typing the value, typing the input value. Okay, so in text box the user has to manually type his name. Okay, it cannot suggest any name, right? But in age group you can suggest, the ages. Okay, so but it has to be in a filtered way, like a restricted way. So the user cannot put a age group like 150 or 200, something like that, right? So we need to restrict the input which is provided by the user or by selected by the user. So combo box works in different styles. Okay, so I'll just show you how it works. Okay, there is a property called drop down style. So using this property you have three different so simple combo box is like this, it will be always displayed like this. It's not a good one, but you can use the other forms which are there. Drop down combo box basically allows you to type the text. Okay, but it will not allow you to select, means it will not allow you to select any value apart from the listed values. Okay, and drop down list combo box basically disables the typing section itself, and you can only use it as a selection list. Okay, I'll explain you how this is. Okay, first we need to put some values for this combo box, because age group means he has to select, right? Now we have not used a text box, now we have used a combo box. We need to key in the values before itself. Okay, so before doing the coding we need to put some values for this. So for that you have items property. This items property gives you the list of values which needs to be displayed inside this combo box. Okay, so I've just clicked the properties items, okay, of that particular combo box 1. Okay, so now age group I'll start from 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60. So these are the four age groups which I want to broadly classify. Okay, so I've given it. Now I will run and show this, then only you will understand this. Okay, so now the form is loaded. Now I can't type anything here. See, I can only select the values. I cannot type anything new. Okay, this is the combo box list. If you change this property again with drop down only, then this will be enabled mode. Okay, now let's see how it functions. Now I can type it, but this is not a valid value. Okay, but if you want to search, if this is having hundreds of values inside this and you cannot scroll and type or see some value, so but I know the value, it will start with 3. Okay, then I can just type 3, then automatically it will point to that particular area. So using this the user can select it. Okay, so but better to use a drop down list combo box rather than using a typing list. Okay, if it is a bigger list you can allow the user to type, but still you will have to do the validation before considering the value of the combo box. Okay, because user can type anything, it may cause issue in this particular field value. Okay, so now I'll close this and I'll again go with the combo box list. So we'll go to the drop down style and we'll select drop down list. By default it will be in drop down list, drop down. Okay, you need to change it to drop down list. The next one is, next we will have a sorry, it's a label. We can have a occupation, or we can have label gender. Okay, so for this I'll need to change the text as well, gender. So for this we will use a radio button. I'll tell you what it is. You would have used this in many areas, but you would have not recognized this as a radio button. This is called a radio button. Okay, you can have n number of radio buttons. The only thing is you can select either of one. So it can be either female or male. You can have multiple radio boxes like this. For explanation purpose I'm just keeping 2. Okay, so this I'll rename it as radio btn underscore female. This one I'll rename it as radio btn underscore male. Okay, now it will only allow you to select either of this value. So you can have a drop down as well, but this is also another way of getting the values. So here straightforward, you are saying only you have to select these two, in either of these two. So this is one another way of using the radio button. Okay, so if you have multiple radio button fields, you need to group them inside a group box. Okay, so I'll tell you how to use that group box in later stage, but in this form we are using only one set of radio button. So these two are pointing to a single value. I'll tell you how to extract the input fed by the user. Okay, so first let us design it completely, then we'll go for the coding part. So next one, I'll put a label box. This label I'll put it as lbl underscore um, occupation. Okay, I'm capturing an occupation. So I'll put a list box for this. What is a list box? I'll tell you. So this is a list box. So list box basically is a kind of combo box. Okay, list box and combo box are similar type, but only thing is list box occupies a bigger space than a combo box. If you can see it here itself, see combo box is inside this, but uh, this much area, but a list box is occupying this much area. It can be much bigger as well depending upon the values inside this. Okay, and second thing, it comes with a scroll if it is exceeding this particular limit of this limited size. Okay, I'll showcase that. So what we will provide for this name, we'll put it as lst underscore uh, occupation. So now we'll put some list for this list box. Okay, similarly for combo box, how you have done the same way, we will have to use items property for listing down the items in the list box as well. So here I will use accountant, architect, engineer, salaried person. We can have politician, we can have business person. I think this should be enough. So now if you can see, there is a scroll bar coming. So once you key in more values inside this, it will come with a scroll bar. So this also you would have noticed in various forms, which would have been in online sites or forms which you use for regular day-to-day life. Okay, in your office or in your school or somewhere, you would have seen these things. Okay, now let's go for the next label. So here, if you would have noticed, it would again and again come as label 1. I only said that it will be on a numbering basis, but how come it is coming again as label 1? Because we have renamed all these labels as different names. So it will always check whether that label 1 is present. If it is there, then it will go for label 2. If it is that is also present, it will go for label 3. So likewise, it will go on checking the number which is present, means the numbering method which it follows. It will check inside the form whether that particular name is there or not. If it is there, it will use that name. If it is not there, it will use that name. Otherwise, it will go for the next value. Likewise, for any tool, it will go for the numbering order only. Okay, now we are again changing this label as lbl underscore food preference. Okay, so now I'm changing the text as well as to food preference. So what does this do? I'll use a checkbox. Okay, so what is a checkbox? Checkbox is basically for selecting multiple values. Okay. Radio buttons are used for selecting single value. You can select either of one, but checkbox allows you to select both the things. So for example only I've given this. So we'll use this name as chk underscore veg. This I'll use it as chk underscore non-veg. So now I'll place the text as veg and checkbox 2 as non-veg. So now I can select both the things, right? For a food preference, a person can be either veg or non-veg or both. Okay, so for this type of use cases, you can use a checkbox, and where you have only single value to be selected, you can use a radio button. But both the things have a different property. Means like extraction value depend is a different on a different method. Now let us go for a button. So button is the final place where you do all the coding. Okay, so we'll resize this form a little bit smaller. Okay, so button, we'll change the buttons name as well, btn underscore save, and this has btn underscore clear. Now I'll just select all the tools and I'll change the font. So these font is a common property, so any whatever font you want to, you can have it inside this. Okay, you can select inside this, and you can select anything, whatever you font you want, but I always use this default font with a 10. It is little bit decent and good one to use. Okay, so now button we need to rename. We have renamed the button name, but we have not given the text for button. Save, this is save button, this is a clear button. Okay, now let's use a group by box. Group box is here. So this is just basically for grouping it. See, it has hidden the values of the form. Okay, this is because it will be grouping the information. So you, whatever you copy paste inside this, or you cut and paste any tools inside this, you can drag and drop with a single click inside the group. Means if you pull uh, click this group box, the entire tools in present inside this group box will move along with that, because it's a group. Okay, so now I will showcase how this works. I'll just select all these. Okay, and I'll do a cut. Now I'll bring the group box here. I'll click inside that group box and then right click and paste everything. So now everything is inside this group box now. See, I need to resize it because it has gone a little bit. Because all the text has gone inside this. I'll do undo. Because I've pasted inside the group box, but it did not paste properly. Okay, so I'll just first resize it, then I'll paste it because that's a mistake. Okay, now I'll paste it here. Okay, now it has come proper. Now just drag and drop inside this and then resize the group box. So now if I can move like this. This is the ultimate uh, use of a group box. So you can just group it and then you can move wherever you want inside the form. I can place it here. I can have another form, another group by box here, which contains some educational details. So like this you can have any details and group it. so it will move all along with that group box whatever is inside that. So this is the basic function. And one more thing is, if you use another field with radio button, then you will have to group the radio buttons inside a group box, because another it might clash with the next set of radio buttons. Okay, for that purpose you need to group it. So if you have one more field of radio button for used with radio button, you need to group it. But checkbox is not like that, it is individual, so you can manage it in the code level. Now I'll just change the group box title. So this is grp underscore basic details. Okay, I'll put then text as personal details. Okay, now form also I can change it. I can change the name. If you change the name, sorry, I can change the text. If you change the name only, it will have an impact. So the form I will change it as simple basic details. Now I want this to be little bit attractive. Okay, first thing, I'll do a resizing of this form. I should not allow the user to maximize this. So for that you have a property for the form. So just you have maximize as true. So if you make it as false, it will be disabled. So you can't maximize. Similarly, you have minimize, but I'm not going to disable minimize. I'm going to I'm going to stop resizing the form. Okay, so there is a property called form border style for the form alone. Okay, so each and every tool has its own unique property as well, and it has the common property as well. So you need to see every single property and adjust that property value as per your need. Okay, so here it is sizable, so I will just change it as fixed single. So what this property does is, if you change it to fixed single, it will not allow you to change or modify the borders of the form. And there is one more property. Okay, so when you would have if you would have noticed, when I ran this form, it was loading it somewhere in this place, right? So to make it in the center screen, there is a start position property. So it will start by default with the default location, but you need to change it to center screen, or you can choose a manual position as well. Okay, by clicking that. So, but I want it to be in the center screen, so that looks a good gives a good feel. Okay, now I'll change the form color, because it's by default loaded with the button color, which is a very dull color. Okay, so I'll just change it to white, or otherwise I'll change it to something good one which I like. Let's have like this. Okay, or some other color would also be nice. This should be okay. Okay, so now I'll just change the font of this particular uh, frame as well. So now I've changed it to this thing. I'll put it in bold so that it looks good. Okay, now I'll change the back color of this um, input fields so that it looks good. Okay, you can change the back color. So for this, okay, back color doesn't apply for everything. Okay, so you need to choose. So back color is not for uh, these two. Okay, so back color doesn't appear for radio button and checkbox, because it's a very small field and it's not a bigger field to have color. Okay, so I'll just change the color of these three fields alone. I'll change it to something which is highlightable. Okay, because this is a disabled one, because you have changed it to combo list box. Okay, so combo list box by default takes a stand of disabled kind of view. Okay, it will work, but it will not change the color. If it is a drop down, if it is a normal combo box, like the style was like something like this one, right? Here it was. If it is a normal drop down, it would have changed the color. Say I will showcase. See, if it is a drop down list, it will be in a disabled mode, but it will work with the limited value with the values for selection. Okay, so now our basic designing is completed, friends. So now let's see how the working works. I'll just increase the uh, command button. Okay, it's not increasing. Okay, leave it, not an issue. Okay, so it has grids actually. So if you want to view the grids also, it will be available. I think in this version it is not available. In older version you will have grids, so till what extent you can increase the size of any tool, it will showcase. So this is a little bit advanced model of Visual Studio, wherein you don't have the grids in display for the form designing. Rather, it will showcase. Say for example, if I move it little bit, it will automatically showcase this line. That means it is aligned with the previous property where you previous field which you have kept, so that it looks proper and decent. Okay, so here also it is aligned, so all the fields in this group box is aligned. Similarly here, so if you move it, if you see, there is a line for the age group, which is nothing but it is aligning the text as well inside the combo box with the age group field. Okay, so likewise you can have any you can align all the tools. Okay, so friends, now the form designing is over. Now let's go for the coding part. So what we will do, on click of this save, we will just get the values and display them. Okay, so I'll design a simple coding wherein it gets the value and it will display the uh, input as a text. Okay, so what are the how to code it? Okay, so for coding purpose you need to double click this field. Okay, so for example, I want to save the details provided by the user in this form. On click of save, that means you need to do a code on this double click of save, so it will automatically go as a subroutine. So in Visual Basic you will have everything inside the class of the form. So form is the overall container inside which you have all the tools, and you can code anything and everything inside this class. Okay, inside the form 1 class. Similarly, if you attach another form, it will be form 2 class. So basically it is a class. So each and every container has its own tools which you have used, and inside it you can communicate. You can communicate with cross forms as well. I'll tell you in another video. Okay, so now for coding this, we will have to double click this and it will automatically give a private sub. Private sub means it's a private subroutine which is available inside this particular class, and it can be used by this form. Okay, so now if you write anything inside this private sub and end sub, it will be executed. So private sub comes with an end subroutine. This is start of subroutine. So it is defined as sub private sub. Okay. Now let us define some variables. Okay. So I'll go to the class form. Then I can define variables here which will be used within this class. Okay. So I'll have my own definition. I'll use v variables. Okay. So variable v underscore name. Okay, then I'll use another variable v underscore uh, age group. Right, these are case sensitive, guys, so you need to be you have to give the same case sensitive thing while coding, but Visual Basic will help you to make it case sensitive. So if you forget to do a case sensitive coding also, it will take automatically, it will showcase. I'll tell you how it is. Okay, and I'll define the next variable v underscore gender, then v underscore occupation, then v underscore what was the last field, occupation, then food preference. I'll use only this much. Okay, it's very big, right? You have to define as string. You can define it as integer, you can define it as float, double, you can define it as a character, boolean. There are the same data types are available here as well, like in any other language like C or C++, you can define the same thing. Okay, so while putting it as, if you have noticed, it will showcase like this. So it will help you what you wanted to select. Okay, so now I'm selecting string. So string, it showcases, right? So by default it will showcase the string. Means it will, once you type str, it will showcase this is available. So you can just choose and click it. Okay, it will automatically fill the code. So Visual Basic is a user-friendly coding environment where you can do your codes in a very simpler way. Now let us capture the value of the name. So we have defined the variable. Now let us assign the value. Okay, so v underscore name equals to, we have defined the name of the text box as txt, right? Txt underscore name, right? So it has shown it here. So once you type it txt, it is shown the name which you have assigned for the text box. So now it has come, but you need to give an additional sub property dot text. So this only gives the text value of that particular tool. So whatever the user inputs in the form, it will be stored in the text only. Okay, for text box. For similarly for other tools also, whatever is there in the text only is the actual value keyed in by the user. Okay, next one, v underscore age group. So here also, so we have given a cb, uh, it was combo box, right? cbx, I guess. cb box, forgot the, okay, we have not changed the combo box name, so it is still combo box 1. Okay, so combo box 1 dot text. So this will give the combo box 1 text which is selected by the user. So we have assigned two variables with the values provided by the user. Okay, now next one, v underscore gender. So here there is a thing. So here we need to use a if statement because it's a radio button, because it can be either of these two tools, right? So it's, this is a separate tool, this is a separate tool, so we need to see which tool has the value. So for that purpose we need to have a this thing. Okay, if statement, if we, r btn dot female dot checked equals to true, then v underscore gender equals to female. Here end if and if it works like this, if then the condition, then and an end if condition. This is the syntax for a if statement in Visual Studio, Visual Basic. Okay, so now this is for female. Similarly we need to give for um, male as well, right? So I'll use a else if condition because I'll tell you why. RBTN male dot checked equals to true, then v underscore gender equals to male. See, there can be a case wherein the user did not select anything in this, so it will be null, right? So we cannot simply assign it as male if he has not selected, right? So for that purpose we are just making it to the else condition, else if condition. Now we will put a else condition, else v underscore gender equals to null, so user has not selected anything. Next one, we'll use the occupation equals to L list. Okay, ltxt, what is the name which we have given list box? Let's see what is the name of list box, I forgot. LST occupation. Okay, so you need to code it as per that. So it will be LST underscore C. It is defined. Once you type that starting three letters itself, it will showcase the name of that. So dot text. You can use dot selected text as well. You can use text as well. Okay. So this gives the text which has been selected by the user. Next, v underscore food. See, even the variable which we have defined, it will showcase here. So you have to just click it. That's all. It will automatically do half of the code for you, including the case sensitivity. So it will follow the same case sensitive. Say for example, I use v underscore food. I have typed it in small letters, but still it will showcase the, see, it will showcase. And okay, if I type it straight away, say I'm typing everything in smaller case, but I have defined it in uppercase and lowercase. Okay, now it has automatically changed itself, right? So even though you use a case sensitive way of defining the variable, it will automatically change itself while you write it. So you don't have to bother about the case sensitivity. Like if you in Java and all, if you type something in a variable or something, it's a case sensitive thing, and you'll have to use the same way of coding in the coding place. You have to use the same exact letter case while coding it, but VB allows you to do in whatever way you want to code. It will alter itself by rectifying the case sensitivity. So it should not be a problem for a coder, right? So that's fine. So now for the food preference, we need to use the same kind of if statement, because it is also having two different tools. Okay, so if chk wedge dot selected dot checked, okay, equals to true, then v food preference equals to wedge. We will have to use a if like a double condition, okay, because here the user can select both, right? And so there will be four different combinations for this. Okay, I'll tell you why. Chk dot checked, I already written, right? Checked to true. See, I can have veg also checked and non-veg also checked, so I need to use this as comma non-veg. We need to handle that value here manually. Else if there can be another possibility, I'll just copy this set of code. Here veg can be false, non-veg can be true. So here I will give us, I'm just copy pasting that so that I don't have to type again. Non-veg, okay, since here non-veg is selected. Similarly for veg. Here it will be true, here it will be false, here the value will be veg, right? And there can be another case where nothing is checked, so it will be falling under else case. So here straight away I can select the value as, I'm copying the variable equals to null. So these are the four possibilities, right? So all the four possibilities we have covered here. So now at the end I'll put a message box, msg To give a message box, you will have to follow this syntax: message box followed by message. Means inside bracket you can type any message what you want to display. So here I'll put a name. Okay, so whatever you type inside the double quotes, it will be printed as it is. And if you want to include the variable to be printed in the message box, you need to go out of the double quotes and press plus, then v underscore name. What is the next one? Next field I'll put equal to, so that we get to know what is provided by the name field. Then again plus, because it's a string operator, string operation, so we need to concatenate all the uh, strings. So for concatenation here we use plus in Visual Basic. Okay, so I'll tell you how it is. So we can do n number of pluses like this, go on adding the text. Okay, and it will concatenate all the strings together. So next field is what? Age group. So age group equals to plus v underscore age group, then plus, what is the next field? We have gender. Gender equals to, then plus v underscore gender. So see, if you have noticed, once I get the field name in the list, I'll just press tab, automatically that particular name will be taken here. See, here I'll use the next one as gender is done, occupation equals to, now plus v underscore. See, I'm not typing, I'm just selecting and then press tab, automatically that variable will come into the code. So it's a lot more easy than any other language which you have used. Okay, now last one, foot preference. So again plus v underscore foot, that's all. Okay, now I need to give some this thing. So I'll type, means I'll need to give some type of message box. It will be good to view. So you can have exclamation, you can have critical. So like this, we'll use the information one, because this is the information. You can have any type of message boxes. Whatever you see in the windows, you would have seen lot of message boxes appearing, a cross symbol with a alert or a information symbol with an warning. Like that you can use it here also. Exclamation is also there. You have alert symbol. So lot of symbols are there. So this is the information symbol. It will come with the exclamation, means the information symbol. Okay, so now after this you have to give another comma and give the title for that message box. So this is the information. Okay, so information of person, like that we can give. So with this the code is complete. Let's see the running of this. I'll just save this and then run this. So now the form is loaded. Now I'm giving the name as Nivas. I'll give the age group as 21 to 30. I'm selecting male. Okay, let's see. Now you can have either of one value only. Okay, if you have multiple fields of radio buttons, you need to group them in with the group box. Okay, here I'm selecting it as engineer. Now I'm selecting non-veg. Now I'm pressing save. See, it has given the value. So now the information of the person, my name was Nivas, what I've selected is correct. Means whatever I've typed it here, it has captured it correct. Age group was 21 to 30, it has captured. Gender is male, that also it has captured. Occupation is engineer, that also it has captured. Food preference is non-veg. So it has completely worked well. This is how you get the information from the form. Now you can use this for storing it in a database, or you can pass it on to the next form or something based on your application or your requirement. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so now this save part is completely worked. So now we have got the information inside this variables. Now these variables can be passed into a database. That I will explain it in a different video with connecting to SQL server or any database which we have. Okay, now let's see how the clear works. Okay, I'll just code that as well. So again, to code the clear buttons action, we need to double click this. So if you would have noticed here, there is a toolbar here, okay, which says which tool you are using, okay, and what is the action against it. So you have n number of actions you can see here. So if the key down is done on the clear, it will invoke this. So these are all action items, okay. You can use any of these action items to trigger the code. Okay, so here we are using a button click. Similarly, you have button double click. Okay, see, button double click. If the save button itself is double clicked, it can be invoked. So for example, then that code has to be written here. We are writing the code on a single click. Similarly, you have double click. Similarly, you have um, key down. Key down means once the button is pressed, it has not released. Okay, so there are various events which you can write for each and every tool. If it is crossed over, like mouse over, or focus, you can say like got focus. I'll show you. Yeah, if some text box is getting a focus, or if the button is getting a focus. Say for example, when you run it, this is a focus, right? So it has been focused on clear now. So once this focus has come, you can write an event, you can write an action. So now we are not going in that detail. Okay, so just for explanation purpose, I've showcased this. That's not required at the moment. So we'll straight away write the code for this. Okay, so first we'll clear the values of the labels. So for values of the variables, okay, I'm clearing the value which is stored in the variables. Okay, v underscore age group equals to v underscore gender. These are all text, so I am just providing the text as null. If you just double quote that equals to, then it means it is clearing off all the value. It is null, as equal as null. Okay, it is a plain thing inside that variable. Now occupation. So like this you can code your variables. Food preference, so I'm just pressing tab only, if you have noticed. Okay, now we have cleared the variable values, all the 5 variable values. We need to clear the uh, selection or the text which is there in the uh, tool as well, right? So for that I'm using textbox.text. Okay, so what I've done, I've just given the text property name, text field, text tool name, and dot text equals to nothing. Okay, so it will clear it off whatever the user has given. Next one was, what was this? Next one is a combo box. Here also we can code it, but here we have not given an empty value, so it will not clear it by default. So I'll tell you why. So here combo box dot text equals to this. Next one is a gender. Gender also we need to clear it in a different way. So here rbtn dot female dot checked equals to false, and rbtn male dot checked equals to false. So we need to make it as false, otherwise it will be checked by default. Next is occupation. So this is a list box. Here what we'll do, lst occupation dot selected index equals to -1. So by default this list box works in a different mechanism, wherein you will be numbered, means each and every entry inside the list box is numbered from 0 to whatever the row count is. If you have 0 to if you have 100 values, the list box indexing will happen, and that will be from 0 to 99. If you have 10 values, 0 to 9. So likewise. So if you give -1 means there is no value beyond 0, means below 0. So it will not be selected. None of the value will be selected. Okay, that's why I'm giving as -1 selected index. If you give 0, that means it will select the first one. Okay, so this is how that one works now. And again, checkbox, right? chk which dot selected, sorry, checked equals to false. Then chk non-veg dot checked equals to false. Now let's see whether this works. So now I'm giving the mass. Okay, I'm using 21 to 30 male. I'm architect. I'm selecting veg. Now I'm saving it. So I got the output which is provided here. Okay, now I'm clearing it. You can see all the things would have got cleared, but this alone would have not got cleared because this is a limited value combo box. Okay, so for this to be cleared, you need to have one more thing. So combo box, here also you can give the selected index equals to -1. Okay, there is one more way. I'll tell you what. So Nivas, okay, this is another way. Say, so how the list box works, in the same way you can do for a combo box as well. Both are similar tools but little bit different in the way of working. Okay, similarly the radio button and checkbox are also in the same way but works in a little bit of difference. Okay, so this is a simple box, a simple form, guys, wherein I have explained all the basic tools which are required for capturing the user value, form values or field values. Using this you can design any form of your own and you can use it. I've also done another some videos on how to connect and store the data in an SQL server. Okay, so you can watch that video and you can use other videos of mine to create your own application. I've even provided a full application of employee master which you can use it. Okay, which you can watch and you can see how a complete form works with the help of database. Okay, so guys, that's all for this tutorial, this video. So in this I hope I have explained the basic tools and usage and with the uh, capturing of values of every field which is used here. Okay, thank you guys. Let's see in another video. I'll definitely put another video if this video goes well for basics of Visual Studio, Visual Basic. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for watching.